The Bible has explicitly stated that pride goes before a downfall. In fact, it has gone ahead to tell us that God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Now, there are quite a number of scriptures that tells us about pride, and I'm going to be adding them to the description of this video or to the comment section or whatever it is, because there is a lot that so many of us do not understand about pride. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dorothy Beninga, and for a few weeks now I have been talking about certain things that we as worship leaders tend to joke about, just certain things that we should take a bit more seriously these days. Now, this thing called pride is one thing that has affected so many of us. The funny thing about pride is that it comes in subtle ways. It comes gradually, slowly, small, as you're getting small relevance. If you do not check your heart, if you do not continue to checkmate your heart, you will come to see that eventually pride has taken a very beautiful seat in your heart because you did not checkmate it. Now, we have so many talented people, talented musicians, so many people that are gifted, but their gift, the only thing it does for them is to gather people, get an applause, and that is it. The little ways that pride shows in our lives as music ministers, and if we do not check it, hey God, you know how God will not take away the gifts, right? He will not take away your ability to sing or your ability to gather people or your ability to ginger people, but that impact, people will only listen to you, people will listen to you, be excited, and when they go home, no impact, no encounter, nothing. It gets to a point whereby even you begin to feel a certain level of emptiness, like there is no connection. There is performance, but there is no connection even between you and God. One thing that pride does to us, or one thing we do not understand about pride, is that pride is a way of self-glorification. It glorifies you above the person that you're supposed to be glorifying, which is actually God. So imagine as a worship leader, you're coming to lead worship with that place, from that place of pride. I've heard some things that some people say, stuff like, oh, I don't need to rehearse, I don't need to do this. And honestly, some of these statements, even though they might be true, some of them are actually coming from a place of pride, from a place of, oh, you have been able to gain or to get a little, amount of relevance, and suddenly you begin to look down on other people, you begin to look down on processes, you begin to look down on protocol, things that are actually supposed to be done. You feel like everybody that does those things is beneath you. And it's a very sad place to be at as a Christian, as a worship leader. Remember that we are not entertainers, we are ministers of God. We are supposed to be leading God's people to worship. So the condition of the heart that you come with is very vital. It is very important. Can I tell you that it is more than the clap, it is more than the shout, it is more than the applause that you get at the end of the day. What is most important is you and God, between the two of you. Are you guys good? Or have you allowed pride to even silence the voice of God from knowing what you are actually supposed to do? Because pride has a lot of dangers, and I just want to, go through some of them. First of all, one thing about pride is that it causes you to stop hearing the voice of God over your own voice. So you hear yourself more than you hear the voice of God. The Bible has already said it, that God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Imagine being opposed by God. Remember, he will probably not take away the gift. He has already gifted you. He has already given you the voice, the charisma, and everything. He has already given you the stage. He has given you the relevance. For some people might begin to notice that they have that iota of pride, and so they will not even bother about calling them again. For you, you might still have that audience. You might still have all of that. But God has bad when she declined, because you have allowed pride to come in between you and him. Another thing that pride does to you as a Christian or as a worship leader is this thing that they say, leaning on your own understanding. leaning on your own understanding. The Bible has already told us that you cannot lean on your own understanding, because your own understanding is going to put you inside problem. But you continue to lean on your own understanding, and that is why when we say things like spend time to pray, spend time to rehearse, spend time to do the vital things that you need to do, you tell yourself, oh, I don't need to do all of this. I'm a star, I'm a pro, I'm a this, I'm a that. Nobody is kicking against the fact that you're a star or you're a pro or you have gotten to a certain level. But the moment where you begin to feel like you don't need to consult God, or you do not need to be accountable to another person, which is the third thing I'm going to talk about. You don't need to consult God about an assignment. The moment you begin to realize this thing, know that pride has started getting into your head. Number 3, pride stops you from being accountable. As a worship leader, let me tell you the honest truth. You need to be accountable. God has blessed us with certain people in our lives that will help to give us direction when we begin to go off guard. When you begin to feel like everybody is beneath you and you don't need to listen to anybody, or you don't need to be counseled by anybody, or you don't need to be given direction by anybody, know that pride has begun to take a very good seat in your life and you need to check it. Pride can be very, very destructive to you. It can be very destructive to us. It is very important that you check it. Do not let pride to take a seat in your life, because you might be able to still gain relevance but no impact, and at the end of the day there will be no well done, my good and faithful servant, because that's what we all hope to hear at the end of the day. More than the charisma, more than the this, more than the that, more than the excitement, these are just earthly things that hardly even ever matter. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is that sometimes we allow pride get into us so much so that it begins to cause a rift between us and our worship team. Yes, this person is a star, that person is a star. Don't get me wrong, it is very good for us to use our excellent skills to glorify God. That is the reason why He has actually given us those skills. But when it begins to look like you are trying to compete with another person, or you're trying to belittle another person because you can do something more than the other person, then it begins to become self-glorification. It is not about God anymore. It is about you and the wonderful dynamics that you can do. Very, very vital. Christians, worship leaders, check your heart. If there's an iota of pride, ask that the Lord helps you to deal with it, so that after all this display that we have done here on earth, when we go to heaven, God will not turn His back against us and say, you were doing all of these things, but you were not doing it in my name. You were doing it in your own name. Thank you so much for staying with me right to the end of this video. Till I see you on my next video, I remain Dorothy Benninger.